What's up, y'all? It's Jeff Cobb, and you're listening to Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show on Social Suplex Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. Listener discretion is advised at all times.
Hello and thank you once again for downloading and listening to another episode of the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. My name's Clive and I'm joined by Ricky. How are you this evening, Ricky?
Yeah, good evening. I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm feeling apologetic tonight.
Why is that?
Well, we said last week that we wouldn't make Tuesday a regular occurrence for the podcast, but this week, due to kids starting school at certain time, like primary school and high school, there's family coming over, so the house is going to be busy. So that's fine, no problem doing an earlier podcast. But I also got my guests mixed up. I thought the big fish that you talked about last week was coming on this week. Got me all in a fuddle, and I may have to delay another guest that I had planned for a couple of weeks still. So apologies to all involved and the listeners for having another early podcast. But what can you do?
Yep, family comes first. It
does. You're sounding very clear and crisp tonight. Care to explain why?
As opposed to every other week.
No, you just sound different.
Well, I've stopped using my phone when we Skype one another. I've finally got my laptop. Well, I've had it for a long time. Just got up and running, using it properly, got myself my headphones in, got my new mic, so hopefully the clarity and the sound, etc. is still alright.
Oh, it sounds fantastic on my end.
That's perfect. Now I just need to figure out why the hell my camera isn't working on a laptop, but that's for another day.
You can maybe footer about during the call, just as long as you don't cut us off.
Yeah. I have a feeling it's got something to do with the internet connection. It seems to be it's been down, the internet connection around this area for the last 3 or 4 days. I've been struggling to get anything, so I'm wondering if it's got anything to do with that. The lack of strong internet connection seems to suggest on the website that it might stop you from actually getting a video call when you go, but we'll see.
We'll see. So, believe it or not, SummerSlam weekend is this weekend. It's kind of crept up on us, would you agree?
Yeah, it's come quicker than I kind of anticipated, to be honest.
Do you think part of that is because there's not much to look forward to?
No. For my personal opinion, I'm quite... I wouldn't say I'm very over the top excited for it. There's just certain matches I am looking forward to. Some I could do without. It's real 50-50 for me on the card.
Uh-huh.
But I think as long as one thing happens at SummerSlam, for me it will be regarded as a success.
What's that?
As long as Brock Lesnar doesn't walk out with the title on Sunday. And that's kind of an indictment on the current Raw product or the current Raw title scene that if that happens, I'm going to class it as a successful pay-per-view. And that's kind of where we are in terms of the main event scene at Raw. And it's quite a damn shame. It's not great, but unfortunately that's where we are at the moment.
Well, funny you say that, because because this was a sort of last minute podcast, wasn't much preparation involved, and we're also missing the Raw and SmackDown before SummerSlam, so another reason for my apologetic emotions right now. So there is a chance that when this airs, I don't know, maybe the B team have got CM Punk and Colt Cabana fighting them for the tag team titles. Something like that could have happened on Raw and we won't know about it. I doubt that might happen.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, is it?
stranger things have happened. I know. That might be a match at All In, actually. But see, I sort of colour coded the matches, so we've got red for Raw, blue for SmackDown, obviously. Raw is the 3-hour show, the flagship show. It has 5 matches on the card. SmackDown has 6. And one of the Raw matches is Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin.
And like I say, 1 or 2 matches might actually get added on between now and then.
That's true.
But who knows, maybe they'll do something with Sasha and Bayley, maybe they'll be in a tag team match, but I think the card is pretty much set in stone. Maybe 1 or 2 things, because at the moment I don't think we're entirely sure what the Raw tag title is. That been confirmed? I don't think it has.
No.
Because tonight, we're not entirely sure when the podcast is going to release, but certainly for us tonight, Raw still will take place, like you say, so there's that triple threat for the title taking place tonight. So, and I kind of think that what will happen is, I think the B team will probably end up pinning Bray Wyatt or Matt Hardy, and then we'll most likely get B team versus the Revival, because the Revival went pinned in this match tonight. That's just my theory.
Well, there have been a lot of rumours kind of stoked by Matt Hardy himself that he's close to retirement, so I wonder if he'll get one last SummerSlam pay-per-view under his belt, with a match against the B team to sort of finish that feud once and for all, and for Matt Hardy to say ta-ta.
Oh, he's certainly been alluding to it on Twitter.
Very much so. But the whole, I'm just looking again here, there's nothing from the Raw side that's really screaming out to me as something that's must see. The one thing I would say I'm looking forward to is Dolph Ziggler versus Seth, and maybe the outcome of Strowman versus Kevin Owens, but apart from that, it's not looking good for the red brand in my opinion. And I think I watched SmackDown there. Excellent stuff with the Miz promo, Daniel Bryan interference as well on the set of Miz and Mrs. Really good tag team match between The Bar and New Day. I just think SmackDown's starting to hit its stride, and Raw is just stagnant as ever at the moment, and it shows in the layout of this card for me. And one thing that has been a glaring omission, I would say, I have been patient, but I'm a bit disappointed that Sasha and Bayley, with only one Raw left before SummerSlam, don't have anything on paper yet.
You know, it's funny and ironic that you say that there's not much happening on the Raw side for you. It's funny because there's only one match on the Raw side I'm not really looking forward to.
Balor and Corbin.
And that is, yep, because I'm very intrigued in terms of what they might do with Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss. I think Ronda Rousey's been excellent. Kind of reminiscent of Angle's first year. And I'm not saying that she's hit those heights or she's on that same trajectory, but similarities in the sense that she's come in from no wrestling background and she's actually doing very well. Seth and Dolph, the matches alone I've enjoyed. You then move on to Roman and Brock, which, like I say, the last couple of matches have been great, and I kind of hope they lean more so towards what they've done 3 years ago at WrestleMania. If not, I would like to see Roman just beat up the holy hell out of Brock and get the win. And I'm also intrigued by Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman, because that stipulation, and I think you've said it before, you tend to think that Kevin Owens is going to win that match, but otherwise, why would they have that stipulation in there?
I know. Why do they have that there?
So I said, that's 4 matches from the Raw side. B Team and Revival, if that happens, I like the B Team. I'm not going to turn around and say this is going to be like one of the best matches of the night, or it's going to be a great match or anything. I like the B Team. It could, and for all we know, the Revival could win. Getting that long overdue tag titles on the main scene, and the main roster, and Finn Balor and Baron Corbin is what it is.
tell you what, right, what we'll do is, I've got the matches laid out here that I stole from a website. No particular order whatsoever. I have lumped a couple of matches together for a reason, but we'll start with what I have here, and we'll have a wee quick chat about each matchup prediction and move on. Shall we stick with that for the format for the night?
Yeah, that's fine.
So the first one here, I've got Andre Dalmas and Zelina Vega versus Lana and Rusev. What do you think about this pairing? These pairings?
So, I enjoyed the match they had on SmackDown. Was it a couple of weeks ago? And to be honest with you, it's nice to get Almas on the card. So I'm happy with that, and it's nice to also get Rusev on the card, two of my favourites. So no real complaints about this. It'll most likely end up in the pre-show, which, as much as I love Rusev and Almas, it belongs on a pre-show as opposed to putting the cruiserweights on a pre-show or putting another title match on a pre-show. So yeah, like I said, I'm happy just for them to get more exposure. Happy for them to be on SummerSlam, and we get to see Lana and Zelina Vega again. I'm not saying their matches were blew me away or anything like that, but I'm just, like I say, there's more so the fact that Almas and Rusev are on the card. And I would have liked to have seen Rusev and Aiden English. I kind of have a feeling Aiden English is going to either cost Rusev and Lana the match, or intentionally or unintentionally, which will probably eventually lead to Rusev versus Aiden English at some point.
Yeah, I think you're right that Aiden English will cost him the match, and it might be intentionally, just the way things have panned out over the last few weeks. Keeps costing them matches by accident. Always apologetic, but both Rana, that can be their couple's name, or Rusev. Rusev and Lana have been a bit sort of impatient with all these carry-on, so I think English himself will be pissed off because although he keeps trying, he's not getting treated well. What I'm a bit worried about is SummerSlam has not been kind to Rusev at all for the last few years. So SummerSlam 2015 had that shit show. Funnily enough, it was a mixed tag match with Lana involved again. With who was it? Dolph Ziggler and Summer Rae. Mm-hmm. That was pants. 2016, they didn't even have a match. Roman Reigns and Rusev started fighting, and then it just got called off because Roman Reigns was going on a tear. Last year, it got squashed by Randy Orton in a matter of minutes, if that. So just from a booking and fan acceptance point of view, I don't think it's going to be a good night for Rusev once again.
No, I don't think it is at all either. But I think it's more so because of going to be because of Aiden English's interference. And Rana could be a new name for our good buddy Rance. I thought maybe you thought it was going to be Rance and Lana combined.
That is a good one. Rance and who?
Well, it would be Lana, but Lana would be punching above her weight there, wouldn't she?
Well, he's got quite a thing professionally for Lana Lane, who's going to be in the Mae Young Classic, so maybe that could be it, the Rana movement.
That's it.
So, you predict a win for Almas and Vega?
Yes.
As do I then. That's fine. So, moving on to the next match on the list, Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin. Can you believe they're having another match? Why is this rivalry being tweaked out for another match at SummerSlam, no less?
Giving Corbin the whole Constable Corbin gimmick, it's fine because it gives him something, but I couldn't care less about Corbin. He's got two real good moves, and other than that, I don't care. It's just unfortunate for Finn Balor. This is where he's stuck at the moment. Like I said, the sooner they move on from this feud, the better. It can only really go up from here from Finn, I believe. But yeah, like I said, when I said about their first match they had on the pay-per-view, the last pay-per-view, I said, who cares? And I'm of the same opinion.
Yep. What I don't get about this is Finn Balor won the first match in this, which has now turned into a feud. And usually, sort of, storytelling 101, you have to overcome the heel and the heel didn't win the first match, so it's a bit pointless having this. And Baron Corbin gets enough TV time for me, and apart from the Constable Corbin gimmick, there's no harm in having him involved in some sort of daft segment at SummerSlam, wee backstage bit, or comes out and soaks up the boos from the crowd. There's no need for a match, for him to have a match, in my opinion. Finn Balor, it's strange because, as far as we're aware, he's very popular with fans, young, old, male, female, and he's sort of saddled with this shit match.
Yep, I agree. It's beneath him.
Yes, it is.
So, like I said, I don't have anything else to add on to that, because that's the Raw match I couldn't care less about.
Right, fair. I'm more than happy to move on. Who have you got for a win then, Finn?
Yeah, Finn.
I hope so. I don't know what will happen. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Corbin won with like a clean roll-up or something shite like that.
Neither would I.
So next up, I've got SmackDown Tag Team titles. Have to say, I am disappointed that the Bar aren't involved in this, but I actually just watched the tag match from last week's SmackDown tonight, and I don't think Sheamus is in good condition right now. Because
it's a matter of time before he needs to retire.
I know. This stenosis that he's got. Just a few things that I noticed when he was having the match. He looked like totally gassed, struggling for breath a lot. Fair enough, they had a really hard taxing match, but he seemed to just be struggling and really plodding through it. He's got a wee bit of puppy fat round the sides, nothing wrong with that, but considering the conditioning that Sheamus has been in the last year or so, he's obviously not been able to train as hard as he would like to. I know he's got his YouTube videos, but something just seemed off about him.
And the thing with the neck as well, like that affects, it connects everything, like all your body, and that's going to cause weakness in the arms or hands or arms. It's going to cause so many issues. Ultimately, you can't lift as much weight. You're ultimately not going to really stay in the kind of shape that he was in. I mean, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, it's not that I'm disappointed in New Day are in that match. I'm disappointed that the Bar aren't. But I think, like you say, there really isn't much. Like you say, I'd be surprised if he's wrestling this time next year.
That's quite damning.
Like I say, if I was him, I wouldn't bother taking massive risks at the moment. You may as well just get the hell out of the business as healthy as possibly can be, because he'll be still be involved in some sort of capacity with the company, whether it's down at Performance Center, whether it's backstage or whatever it may be. It's just unfortunate that this injury's come where he's putting on arguably some of his greatest matches, and he's been part of some great matches these last couple of years.
I know. And at one point last week, he gave Kofi a rolling senton out the side, and he didn't land all of his weight on his neck. He sort of rolled over to the side onto his shoulder, and that just makes me think he's starting to get a bit scared of carrying out his own signature offence. And when it comes to that, then it is time to start worrying.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. In terms of this match, I think it will be the brothers that win.
Right.
And by brothers, I mean the Bludgeon Brothers. Hopefully no one takes offence to that. I know Jeremy and Rance will probably profit that. Earlier on, I was talking to John Ross earlier, and I thought, do you know what? They'll probably go on and face the Bar after this, which I'm okay with at the moment, because if you're not going to put the titles on the Bar at the moment, then I'm happy for you to delay that feud at the moment. But if we're talking about Sheamus not having much time left, and do the Bar actually win these titles at some point? I'd imagine they might be holding it at some point. I'm more so disappointed that the Bar are not there, as opposed to the New Day being there themselves.
With what I've been thinking the last wee while, though, I'm still disappointed the Bar aren't in it, but I do understand if it is due to Sheamus's fitness and health overall, then that's fair enough. What I don't get is, and it's actually something that we'll be talking about a wee bit later, the Bludgeon Brothers destroyed New Day in the second quarters of the year, and although they sort of had some competition from them on SmackDowns, I don't see how the New Day can overcome the destruction that they received at the hands of Bludgeon Brothers previously.
From a kayfabe and storyline aspect, they don't really come across as a credible threat based on their history with the Bludgeon Brothers, and that's why with the Bar being in the match, or if the Bar were in the match, again from a kayfabe point of view, it would have made it look, they would have, for me, would have seen as a more credible threat, and then from a non-kayfabe point of view, it's just something different, because we have seen Bludgeon Brothers and New Day quite recently in the last few months, so like I said, I'm all for fresh and different matchups, but I think they might be getting that matchup post SummerSlam.
Probably.
And I'm alright, I'm okay with that, because if you're not going to put, like I said, you're not going to put the titles on them just at the moment, then at least this way they haven't gone through yet another tag team, and now they move on to what feud they're going to move on to after that.
That's the thing, because it feels as if they've mown through quite a lot of the tag division already, so if they're going to delay that and delay the Bar if or when the Bar beat them for the titles, then it has been a good run they've had. It just, so much destruction has been caused in such a short space of time that it's hard to believe that the New Day could do anything. But the New Day did overcome the Bar in a very hard fought contest, and this is the New Day that I prefer. I just wish they would stop the pancakes and the unicorns and the cereal and just give us these really good wrestling matches that they can have with the majority of these matches, these opponents that they have.
See, I'm okay with the whole hilarity comedy aspect as long as we do get the good matches. That's kind of what they've been doing for a while, apart from really when they're kind of up against the Usos, where they started to get a little bit serious, but they were still mixing in some of the comedy with the seriousness.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what you are going to get like the serious side of them in this match, because once again, kayfabe wise, they understand they're up against two absolute monsters.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I would, I'm going to go with the Bludgeon Brothers. That's my pick. I'd be quite surprised if the New Day actually win this match. Well, walked away with the titles even.
See, SummerSlam, although it's not WrestleMania, it's one of those ones where you have the feel-good moments quite often in the event. I can't see many titles changing hands. In fact, that's a load of shit. I can think of 3 off the top of my head where there's going to be a happy outcome. So, see, they're going to go for the 5 times as well. 5-time championships. No, Bludgeon Brothers will retain, and the Bar will defeat them later on down the line, even though Sheamus is at death's door apparently.
That we've just decided.
Aye. So far we're all a piece.
Yep.
Now, when I'd mentioned there that I find it kayfabe unbelievable that New Day could be able to do anything against the Bludgeon Brothers, and I've lumped these 2 matches together, so we'll talk a wee bit at length about Braun Strowman and Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, because this Money in the Bank briefcase is looming quite darkly over it, I would say. But we've been going on about, we just want Brock Lesnar to not have the title anymore, and we're being told the story that they told us before WrestleMania, might I add, is that Roman Reigns will be the one to defeat Brock Lesnar. But Brock Lesnar's handed Roman Reigns' arse to him on several occasions over the last few years. So I'm thinking, what makes me believe that Roman Reigns can do that at SummerSlam? And that's why I think, although it might be a bit obvious, there's going to be a cash in. It's just who's going to cash in.
So, my theory, it's not really a theory. If Braun wins, Braun doesn't cash in at SummerSlam. If Braun wins, Lesnar retains. If KO wins, Roman wins. And my thinking behind that would then be Braun cashes in the next night on Raw.
As Brock Lesnar scheduled, see, I can't believe we're waiting to see how creative goes, depending on Brock's appearances.
He's scheduled for the next night, and that to me comes down to he either gets a rematch, or he gets cashed in on, or he just loses his match and basically comes out and says, "Fuck you, I'm out of here, I'm done." But do you know what? I'm going to throw a kind of out there. It's not. I don't even think it's that out there, if I'm honest. Paul Heyman costs Brock Lesnar the title, either at SummerSlam or the Raw.
Because of what happened last week?
Yep. And then last week with the promo and a week before that. And this isn't necessarily to align Paul Heyman with KO or align him with Braun or align him with Roman. It's just a case of Paul Heyman being hurt and angry, and it cost Brock the title. And like I says, if KO wins, I think we all believe he's going to walk out of SummerSlam with the title. But that won't happen if Roman doesn't win. And in my personal opinion, you either give us 15 minutes of absolute mayhem, and it's like 50-50 right down the middle, big blow after big blow, or you give us 10 to 15 minutes of Roman beating the holy hell out of Brock Lesnar and winning the title. Do not give us 10 minutes of Brock beating the shit out of Roman and Roman comes back with a Superman punch and a spear and wins it. Do not give us that.
You've made me think of a possible... This is complete fantasy booking mode here, but I'm basically doing a Tyson Kidd and producing the whole match here for you. So, Brock Lesnar will be dominant in the first portions of the match, and he'll sort of laugh off Roman Reigns and walk about the ring just not really paying attention. Roman Reigns will get some offense in, which will maybe not scare Brock, but it will scare Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman will say, "Brock, get your head in the game." Brock will push Paul Heyman about the place and maybe attack him. So that gets the crowd on, maybe not on Roman's side, but against Brock. Paul Heyman disappears and comes out with someone who has a briefcase. And doesn't, as you say, doesn't necessarily align with them. It just aligns with someone who's going to be able to beat Brock with the element of surprise, just like Goldberg beating with the element of surprise at Survivor Series 2016.
Because here's the thing, like, KO doesn't need Heyman.
He does not.
But the KO Heyman combination could be like Punk Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
Punk didn't need him, but when they were together, they were excellent. I think, do you know what? I think my pick, I'm going to go Kevin Owens.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to go Roman.
Oh, after all that.
I think I'm going to go Roman. Because if Roman doesn't beat Brock, where the hell does Roman go from here? Like, really? In reality, from kayfabe point of view?
Well, that's been the problem the whole time. They've destroyed the balance, the hierarchy, the whatever you want to call it, the equilibrium of Raw, because they didn't allow Roman Reigns to beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And if they run the risk of that happening again, which is very, very possible, then it's just another disaster and we're stuck in limbo again with Raw and the rest of the whole show because there's no balance.
Right, so I'm gonna... How about this then?
Oh, another curveball.
forget who wins the cash-in. Roman wins after Paul Heyman helps him. Heyman raises Roman's hand at the end of SummerSlam. Roman hits him with a spear. Kind of the way, remember when Austin turned, where he lined himself with McMahon? Austin says time and time again he wishes if he went back in time he would book it where he stuns Vince McMahon and he walks out. So I'm playing off that in a sense that Roman, whether he's colluded or not with Heyman, but he gets Heyman's help, and in the end, being the badass that he says he is, etc., he just turns on Heyman, spear, Superman punch, and then walks out with the title. But I don't think he's walking out with the title though.
No, I don't. I'm not sure if I like that. If the whole plan here is to get people to cheer Roman at the end, then that will definitely not. I
don't think that. For me, that's not the idea of it. Is to get him cheered. For me, it's just the idea of that he doesn't really give a fuck. You know, like he done it last week when he walked up to Corbin. Oh, how's your ribs? And then absolutely leveled him right in the ribs. And that's the kind of Roman I like as well. Like that arrogant, borderline arrogant, jockish. I know I'm better than you kind of guy. But I just have a real bad feeling that Brock's going to walk out with the title. And I guess my emotions at the time will be, I know I'll be angry, but I also then believe Braun's cashing in on him the night after.
Hopefully, just give something. I know I just sort of left field here, but I think it is actually 6 matches for Raw. Has Bobby Lashley and Elias been confirmed as a match?
Not entirely sure at the moment, to be honest. I think it will be if it hasn't, but Bobby Lashley's involved in the 2 matches with Roman, and now where is he?
Yep.
Is that another guy?
And there's less said about that match the better. Who really cares? That's a piss break, that one.
Yeah, in fact, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going Braun and Lesnar.
Right, hold on a minute. Right, hold on. You just said about 5 minutes ago Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns.
I've changed my mind.
Do you know what I wouldn't be surprised would happen? Such as the disdain that not just WWE fans have with Vince, but Vince has for WWE fans. He'll put the Universal title match on before Strowman versus Kevin Owens, so there's no chance.
That would be excellent. That would be really funny, actually. But then, like, he might close the show with AJ and Samoa Joe, and people will still be pissed off about that, though.
Oh, they'll be pissed off regardless.
But yeah.
Right. So you're going with Strowman and.
I'm going to go with Strowman because I just want. Because I feel like Kevin Owens winning and Roman winning, and then Kevin Owens cashing in and Roman seems too obvious.
Sometimes the most obvious thing's the best thing to go with, though.
But I don't know if that is the best thing to go with, if I'm honest with you. Because it just completely derails Braun in my mind. I know he never really needed the Money in the Bank, but you've missed chance after chance with him, and you're now going to miss another chance. I personally just wanted him to walk out on Raw one night being like to Lesnar, I'm here and I'm cashing in, let's go. And I kind of still harbour those hopes that that's what's going to happen the night after WrestleMania. I think this pick is more so what I'm desperately wanting to happen as opposed to what I believe will happen.
Right, so you're sticking with that one then?
Yeah, I'll go Braun and Brock.
And then Strowman to cash in the next night.
Yeah, and then when we do our picks for the Social Suplex Network, I'll probably go with Roman and KO.
You've turned sides more often than Big Show in his whole career in the last 10 minutes there. So I'm going for the obvious because I'm a Kevin Owens mark, and because I think the fans need a wee boost, especially in the Universal title scene. So with that, I'm going to go with a Kevin Owens wins by hook or by crook versus Braun Strowman, and then cashes in at the end of the night against whoever. I don't care. A wee pulse package, small package to anyone. Doesn't matter who. Kevin Owens is walking away with that Universal title back where it belongs, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, the reality is a Universal title is a nothing title at the moment.
Yeah.
So we kind of need to put it on someone who can elevate it. And that's what we need more than anything. Like, you know, sometimes people say that a title makes someone. Well, KO, Braun or Roman are going to make that title relevant, regardless of who it is.
I think a full-timer's going to make it relevant, to be honest with you.
I know, but when you've got a full-timer as great as KO or as over as Braun or as good as Roman is in the ring, that's going to help. Because the reality is, that Universal title has 50% of the people who have held that title have been part-timers.
I know.
And one guy held it for less than 24 hours.
Yep.
So, historically, it means absolutely nothing.
And it's not even a case of it being cursed, it's just Vince.
So, and I don't even know if you can call Brock and Lesnar, Brock and Goldberg part-timers. I don't know if there's anything worse than if there's anything other than if it's full-time, part-time, if there's anything below part-time, but you know, they're barely there. So, like I say, the sooner this title's off Brock, it'll be a happier place.
Confetti will spray the ring.
The world will be a better place. Fuck you, Brock.
Right, moving on. United States title match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Jeffrey Hardy over on the SmackDown side of things. This has been strange because it's not really been a feud between Nakamura and Jeff Hardy, it's been a feud between Hardy and Randy Orton. I
was kind of half expecting Randall to be put into it. Maybe it might be tomorrow night.
Possibly.
That would make more sense for me, putting him into it. We've already saw Jeff Hardy and Nakamura. Nakamura's got two... Well, say what you want about, especially the first win, or whatever, but he's got 2 wins over him. Well, he's walked away with the title on both occasions, so I don't see why it's going to happen again. Granted, the SmackDown match was quite good, though. I'm kind of thinking, and like we said, we're recording this the day before Raw and SmackDown, we kind of think that maybe Randy is going to be inserted in it at some point. It would add a nice little wrinkle to it. It would continue the Hardy-Orton feud, and that could be the main story of the match, Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy beating the hell out of each other, and Nakamura comes in and steals a win.
Aye. I still think even if Orton is included into the match, that Nakamura will walk away with the title when all's said and done.
Yeah, it makes sense because you've waited this long for him to have a title, so why take it away from the very first opportunity? And then there's still some interesting feuds for Nakamura with the US title, so
why?
There's no point in taking it away because, like I say, is Jeff Hardy's going to move on from this match and continue the feud with Randy Orton. So, you know, why take it off Nakamura at this moment in time? You finally given him something, so let him get his teeth into it and let him have some real good matches.
I would say that Jeff Hardy's on borrowed time as well, just like his brother. So I can't see him winning. I don't know what the end game is with Hardy and Orton. I don't think it'll be a long feud. I think Orton will make quick work of Hardy. It might even be a loser leaves SmackDown match.
I think for the sake of this Randy heel turn, I think it needs to be very decisive, that Randy needs to win emphatically. Because that's the way they've portrayed it the last few weeks, that Randy just beating the holy hell out of Jeff Hardy. And I'm not saying it should be a Brock Lesnar, John Cena type demolition, but Randy should win and should win clean. Because like I said, it's the first time in years that a lot of people have been actually invested in Randy and are like, oh well, I like this and I like this, so why would you want to derail that so quickly?
Yep. It's just strange. He's the third wheel in this. It's a bit odd. So but I've not really got much else to add for it, so both of us going for a Nakamura win?
Yep.
Okay, moving on to the other mid-card title over on Raw, you have a rematch between Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins. They're going from an Iron Man match to what is currently, again, recorded before Raw, just a singles match. Well, do you think something's going to happen on Raw this week?
Well, I think Ambrose is coming back at some point. Obviously, and I think soon. I think he might turn up the next night on Raw, or who knows, he might even turn up post-match if Drew and Dolph are beating down Seth. I don't see Seth winning it again. I think Dolph retains. So, and I think Ambrose comes back, and I think the plan was, what I read or somewhere online, that the plan is to put them two back together. I also heard when Jason Jordan comes back, they're going to put Alpha back together.
Well,
and we could be getting a Revival versus Alpha once again. So,
there's rumours all over the place, though.
I know, but to of what we do know, I'm going to go Dolph to win, and I'm looking forward to this match because the 3 matches I've had, I've enjoyed. Now, the Iron Man match, I had 1 or 2 issues with. I thought maybe there was just 1 pound fault too many. So, I don't think there will still be a stipulation. I don't. I'm just thinking it will be just your normal standard wrestling match that, like I said, I am looking forward to. I don't expect Ambrose to get involved in the match. If he is going to, I believe he'll probably the night after, or it'll be post-match.
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to Dave Fenichel, who did a column last week talking about certain things that may or may not happen at SummerSlam, and one of the things that he suggested was that Dean Ambrose turns up this week, and the IC title match is cancelled, and it's basically turns into a tag match between Mini Shield versus Ziggler and McIntyre. You not into that?
No.
Oh well.
It's a big pay-per-view. I feel like all the titles should be defended.
That's what Night of Champions is for.
It's fine. It makes sense in it, but I think that's probably going to what's going to lead. That's what they're going to lead into post WrestleMania. Probably.
Do you think the Seth Ziggler thing's went on a bit too long now?
It feels it's going on for like 2 months.
Don't know. It just feels like it's been going on for a long time. They've had quite a lot of matches in that time.
Yeah, but good matches.
See, one thing,
in my opinion. So I'm all right seeing the same 2 male or females wrestling all the time, as long as we're getting good matches.
Aye, one thing that has been a positive for me in this is that I still think Dolph Ziggler's a dick. And he has been since the walkout thing, or whatever it was that he did on SmackDown. He's still an arsehole, and I still don't like him, so he's obviously doing something right there.
I've always liked Dolph, and like I said, I've been enjoying it ever since he came back, but especially when he got teamed up with Drew. Kind of gave them both some purpose. Yeah, so like I said, I'm looking forward to the match. I understand what people say, that there's been too many matches. Dolph's win, he's up 2-1 because the one he did lose was when Drew got involved. But I say the last man standing. Sorry, the Iron match probably could have been the end of the feud, but the way it ended, it makes sense. If you want, like from that point of view, it makes sense to have another match. But like I say, as long as we're getting high quality matches, the same 2, let's say the same two male and female wrestlers can wrestle all year long for all I care, as long as we're getting high quality matches. But this will probably be the end of that specific singles feud. But I think we will probably get Mini Shield versus Drew and Dolph
at the next pay-per-view.
Most likely.
What's the next pay-per-view?
I don't know.
Because it used to be Unforgiven. Back in the day.
It's not Extreme Rules or anything like that. What is it? I'll go and have a look.
Right, so who are you going for then? You going for a Ziggler win?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this one is one of the ones I'm looking forward to most for the whole weekend.
Hell in a Cell on the 16th of September.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh, well, they'll need to ratchet up a few of those stories to get some heat in the matches then.
Wait, hold on a minute. What's the October pay-per-view? Because there's nothing there. And it goes from Hell in a Cell September 16th all the way to November 18th Survivor Series.
October is Evolution.
I know, I just assumed they would have another pay-per-view as well.
No, I think they've done a wee bit of jiggery pokery and moved things about.
Alright, well, I think what you might then get is some... I know Hell in a Cell sort of is supposed to be like the end of all feuds. I also wouldn't be surprised though if you get some sort of Raws and SmackDown that have some title matches that are sort of like seen as like mini pay-per-views. Just to sort of give people that, because like I say, that's 2 months is a long time to go without the pay-per-view. So I think you're probably going to get, if there's any feuds that fall out from Hell in a Cell or don't finish at Hell in a Cell, you'll probably see them culminate at some point on a Raw or a SmackDown for Survivor Series.
Which I miss that. I used to enjoy when they did stuff like that.
So that, like, I understand why you're never going to put change the world title on a Raw and SmackDown. I understand they've done it last year with AJ and Jinder, but it's not something that's happened, I don't think, before that. I see tag titles and stuff will change over, but like I said, I do quite kind of miss having a world title change hands on a Raw and SmackDown. And I know people always say, oh my goodness, they gave this away on free TV. Well, you know, it's that whole sort of like shock value, you know, it makes you want to tune in every week. Sound like a bit of a show, but like I said, I just kind of miss those moments.
Well, if they're not moaning about big matches happening on free TV, they're moaning that the ratings are too low, so...
who gives a fuck about ratings?
Not us, not me, who watches it dodgily anyway.
Not us who live in the UK, because they don't factor that in, so...
Aye. I'm going for a Seth Rollins win. In fact, I'm going to go crazy and do some crazy-assed booking. They will have their IC title match as of the time of recording tonight. And you know I like a wee TV title change, so Seth Rollins will win the match. He will get a beatdown, and then Dean Ambrose will come out and help Seth.
Wait. Is this match been announced for Raw or something, or are you just deciding it's what's going to happen?
I'm just deciding it's going to happen. There's still time.
Rand will pop at this.
And obviously, when this has been released, it'll be after Raw, so people will just listen and go, what the fuck is he talking about?
Fuck Clive.
That should be a t-shirt. Fuck Clive. So, moving on to a match that I think everyone's excited about. This is a match 8 years in the making. Daniel Bryan versus Mike Mizanin. It's very tough to call this one, actually, in terms of who'll win, but how do you think the build's been for it, first off?
Awesome. Like, I always maintained that The Miz should have won Money in the Bank. And I thought the best story you could have told was Miz winning Money in the Bank, Daniel Bryan versus AJ at SummerSlam, Daniel Bryan winning and Miz cashing in immediately and basically bragging about it for the next 6-7 months until the Royal Rumble came, at which Daniel Bryan wins. They're obviously not going that route, but you can get to that anyway. You can have Miz winning the title at some point before Survivor Series, Bryan winning the Royal Rumble. It's the match we never thought we would get.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when this whole thing started with them two on Talking Smack, now I know we can go further back, but on Talking Smack, Not once did anyone think this was going to lead to this moment. Hell, neither did I guarantee you, no one knew. The wrestlers didn't know. Vince didn't know, obviously, because that was about 2 years ago.
Yep.
Everything that happened up until then was excellent. I know they kind of addressed the Daniel Bryan addressing the Miz sort of once he was clear to wrestle, and they had that initial confrontation on SmackDown that Big Cass came down and interrupted. But like they said, these last few weeks, they could have just given us these last 2 weeks could have just given us really bad, like a real bad build, and I still couldn't have cared because everything that happened before that still counts as a build. The match itself, it's not going to live up to people's expectations.
No. Folk need to remember that The Miz is not an amazing wrestler. He's a competent wrestler. And
that's it. Because I think a lot of people are expecting to witness greatness on Sunday between these two, but you probably won't. It's a story more than anything. And this is your prototypical, classic, perfect WWE storyline. The match itself... Yep, sports entertainment. The match itself might not be great, but everything that building up to it has been great. And as long as the match is competent, they'll look at it and say, that's fine.
What I've liked about this feud is, granted, I could have done without the fake baby stuff that they had a couple of weeks ago, but since then it has been fire. The Miz, the promo last week, he had that fire in his eyes again that was mentioned in Talking Smack, where he was like tearing up with rage. And Daniel Bryan's been really good, just hassling him everywhere he goes. Daniel Bryan's there to batter them. So from that point of view, I'm really looking forward to it. This will not be the end of this feud. As I say, it's been 8 years in the making, so they're not going to just finish it all in one night. So that's why I'm going with the unpopular choice and saying that this will end with Daniel Bryan disqualifying himself because he is too heavy-handed with The Miz. And it'll continue, maybe even in a cell match. What do you think about that? It's not.
I think
if you were saying it's not going to live up to hype, they always do something stupid booking wise, and people are upset when it's a no contest. SummerSlam's had quite a few no contests for anticipated matches, so I would not be surprised if this happened tonight, Sunday.
For me, The Miz has to win.
Yes, he will walk away with a W, definitely.
Like, regardless, The Miz... to me, if Daniel Bryan has signed a new contract or not, does not mean a single thing for me. The Miz must win for two reasons. If Daniel Bryan hasn't signed a new contract, well, why the fuck are we going to give him a marquee win before he leaves? Right? But if he has, and I think he will, or he already has, just my thinking, The Miz has to win the initial confrontation, because otherwise, if Daniel Bryan wins, feud is effectively over.
Yep. Well, you would think so, but we've seen with Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass and Finn and Corbin.
I get that, but for me, it's imperative that Miz wins the first matchup between the two of them, because I then think we're not going to see them until WrestleMania.
Right. Okay. I can agree with that.
So yeah, my pick is Miz, and to be honest, it's an emphatic Miz for me. I have no doubt whatsoever about this match. It just makes perfect sense. You have to give Miz the first win that he can gloat about for months on months on months before finally getting his comeuppance.
Do you think they'll run a story where Bryan does actually disappear for a while?
I don't know if he'll disappear.
Nah, they won't, because they've used Daniel Bryan so much since he returned. Even beforehand, when he was general manager, he was on TV all the time. They won't run the risk of not having him on the show.
I think they'll run a storyline where the Miz gloats all the time, rubs it in Daniel Bryan's face. Like I said before, I think he'll eventually win the title as well at some point before the end of the year. Yeah, so Miz to win. Whether it's clean or whether he cheats, don't know. Don't really care. But Miz will win.
Yep. I'm going for Miz to win by DQ. Because Daniel Bryan will just lose the rag, basically. So, this is an interesting one. Depends on your definition of interesting, but we've got a triple threat for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Carmella versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. See, with Charlotte's inclusion in the match, this to me screams a Carmella win.
Oh. Nah. Not for me. Becky Lynch wins. Becky pins Carmella. Or she actually pins Charlotte. And what you could do at the next pay-per-view is, I know there's no immediate rematches or rematch clauses, but I think Carmella will kick off first saying she wasn't pinned, and Paige will say, I agree. We'll then get Becky Lynch versus Carmella at that point. Becky Lynch wins, and then we head towards Evolution with Becky versus a heel Charlotte. For me, it's not bothered me that the best women wrestler in the company is now in that match.
Oh, I know.
Because what I've just said is, in my mind, the best female wrestler in that company is going to improve the quality of that match. It hides Carmella, because I think 90% of the match is going to be Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. So I think whenever Carmella tries to get involved, the pair of them are just going to kick her out of the ring. And it hides Carmella. And I think if Carmella does win, she'll win it because she'll just sneak in and get the win. But I don't think she will. I think Becky's winning this. And I think we'll probably get Becky and Carmella at some point, especially if Carmella's not the one that gets pinned. And then we'll move on to Charlotte and Becky at Evolution.
Okay, I'll take a note of your choice. For me, Becky is at the bottom of the predictions for this. I still think it's a very Becky-centric story. They're leading up to something between Becky and Charlotte, not sure what. Heel turn from either one of them looks to be on the cards, especially in the lead up to Evolution. But I just think with this extra person, Carmella's going to walk away with it. I mean, I may be flamed, there might be more Fook Clives coming this way, but I'm going to compare Carmella to Kurt Angle for a second. Remember Kurt Angle's first run as WWF champ? He was sneaking wins left, right and centre, even using his brother as a decoy to beat The Undertaker at Survivor Series and stuff like that. He was in a match, in a Hell in a Cell match, with the absolute titans of not just the Attitude Era, but wrestling and as a whole. Austin, Rock, Triple H, Undertaker. Rikishi was there as well, but he was just having a nap at the end of it. Who walked away with the title that night? Kurt. Crawled away. You've got Becky and Charlotte, two of the best in the business right now. They're not... Carmella's walking away with that title. She'll do it very unconvincingly, and the internet will rage as one, but it's happening. I'm locking it up. You're shaking your head. I'm not doing this as defensive, Carmella. I'm past that now. I would welcome a title change soon, but it's not happening. Not at SummerSlam.
You know, any point you make in this podcast, and maybe going forward, I think it's going to be null and void now, because you just put Carmella and Kurt Angle in the same sentence.
Is that why you've been quiet for the last couple of minutes?
That's why I've been quiet, and I've just been looking at you. Jeez.
Well, how about this? How about this? If I'm wrong, there's a stipulation where I have to, I don't know, you get to make a fool of me on the podcast for a number of weeks, or I have to do some silly song as a forfeit.
No, I'll think of something. I'll think of something. I would say let me host again, but That's not really a punishment as such. I'll think of something.
Okay.
Oh, in fact, no, I won't bother because that's not fair.
Go for it. Just say it. If I don't like it, I'll edit it out.
No, it's nothing bad. You're just not allowed to appear on a podcast for 2 weeks.
Oh, so Mr. Big Boss has got himself some hardware. He's got his headphones, his microphone, his laptop all set up. He thinks he can run the show now.
Well, I mean, and the fact that you'll miss out on our special guest next week.
Hell, that's fine. If you want, I'll be tucked up in my bed while you're working off of Eastern Standard Time.
No, that's fine, because once I've done the podcast recorded, I'll send it to you to upload.
What an asshole.
No, I don't think Carmella's winning it at all. I really don't. Like, I never thought she was going to win it when it was a one-on-one, and I still don't think she's going to win it now either. I just feel like they've put Charlotte in this match to hide whatever flaws Carmella has, and just to sort of improve the match quality itself. Like, Charlotte winning is never come into my imagination whatsoever. I've not even, like, gave thought to that. It's all just been Becky will win. And I still believe that. I just think it's now just how does she win and who does she pin. I think I'm going to go with what I say. I think she might either pin Charlotte, and then we'll get the rematch with Carmella, and then we get Becky versus Charlotte heading towards Evolution. Because I think Charlotte's going to turn on her at some point, and Charlotte as a heel was just untouchable.
How about this for a forfeit? If I'm wrong, for a whole week, my Facebook profile picture has to be a picture of Kelly.
Why would that be a punishment?
Because she's not that good.
I know, but a lot of people won't get it. Like, non-wrestling people on your Facebook.
They'll go, oh, he's looking good these days.
Aye. No, well, you're looking good now. You had a fresh Turkish shave.
Yeah, a hot
nice
towel
haircut.
shave. My goatee has been sculpted with love and precision.
See, I've always wanted to get one, but I don't. I suit a beard.
You do suit a beard. Do you know how, I know we're going off on a tangent and we'll get back on track with the next women's title match in a minute, but do you know how you've had references to looking like Weekend, or whatever his name is?
The Weekend.
The Weekend.
Edit that part out.
No chance in hell. You also look like a guy who was in, can't remember his name off the top of my head, but any fans of Jessica Jones on Netflix will know who I'm talking about. You look like the guy that's in that, who lives in the same block of flats. Block of flats is not the same terminology.
What's it called? Jessica Jones?
Jessica Jones.
Netflix.
I'm trying to remember his name. Malcolm. Thank you, Mrs. Clive.
Thank you. Yep, to your lovely wife. Right, let me see. Right, this guy.
Do you agree?
No, not really.
Alright. Well,
so, what's his name? Eka Darville.
Uh-huh.
Right. Folks, we apologise for this.
Everyone's Googling. They're using the Google machine right now.
Not at all.
Well, that's...
I mean, he's a good-looking guy, right enough.
That's not for you to decide. You do look like
What, is he? Alright, okay. I do look like him then.
Right. One match which I do think has a very definitive outcome is Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss. I can't see anything past, unless some utter shenaniganry takes place. Ronda Rousey's going to mop the floor with Alexa Bliss. Do you agree?
Unless someone like Stephanie gets involved.
You've said that before, have you not?
I don't. Yeah, I know. I've said this before. Yeah, like Alexa only wins either by, like you say, by complete heel tactics or just some sort of interference. I kind of hope they don't give Alexa much offense, if I'm honest with you.
No.
And it's not anything against Alexa, it's more so why not portray Ronda like the badass that she is. I understand with the Nia thing, where Nia really, really got some moves in there against her, but that kayfabe and non-kayfabe, it was like, well, Nia's like size-wise, etc., power, she can overpower her and stuff like that. But when you look at Ronda and Alexa, to me, even just looking at it, poses no real threat to her. And this is Ronda fucking Rousey, so book her like an absolute badass. And I would have her really just dismantle Alexa, if I'm honest with you.
There's the literally outside possibility of Mickie James causing hassle. I don't know.
Yeah, I also don't think Natty's going to be involved after today's news either. So
yes, obviously today you'll know by now that Jim Neidhart passed away. That was quite a sad one, because not only have we had some deaths recently in the wrestling world, but it's another member of like the Hart sort of extended family, as it were, who's passed on. It's just the amount of folk.
One person left in that Hart Foundation. Like Bulldog's gone, Pillman, Anvil now, and obviously Owen. It's just Brett left.
It's crazy.
I don't know if it was even sudden or what it was, because I never saw anything before saying he was unwell or what.
Yeah, I think the general feeling at the moment is it was just out of the blue.
It's a shame. It's a shame. I'm sure they'll have something for him tonight on Raw as well.
Aye, they will do. The bell salute, probably.
Yep. But just so, yeah, I wanted to touch on that. Rest in peace, obviously. Yeah, so Ronda walks away with the title. I think this is, out of all the title matches, this is the one I'm like, there's absolute no doubt whatsoever. If the women's SmackDown one, fine, there might be a little element of doubt for some, but I think this is a one match that you look at, a title match, you're like, right, we all know who the winner is going to be. I would be absolutely stunned if Ronda doesn't walk away with the women's title.
I think this is one of those things I was talking about earlier, where you have to have, at one of the big four, a feel-good moment, so the fans go home happy, as it were, and it's going to come in the form of a Ronda Rousey win, and it could even be a squash. I'm still not 100% convinced for Ronda, but I would much rather she was the champion than Alexa Bliss, who we've had for too long now.
So here's one that you might not agree with, though.
Right.
Ronda is on Kurt Angle's path. Maybe not on the same trajectory Kurt was on, but the similarities, the way Kurt took to it in his first year and Ronda's took to it. Now, I'm not saying, let's say, that Ronda's on that same level at the moment. I'm not saying she's anywhere near it, but I think in terms of how well she's done in such a short space of time, in-ring ability-wise, it's phenomenal. Like, because at the end of the day, yes, she comes from an MMA background, but there's no wrestling background there whatsoever. Like, pro wrestling background. At least when Kurt was coming in, he still had that element of amateur wrestling where he could sort of rely upon that a little. It's obviously a hell of a lot different than pro wrestling. So like I said, yeah, I think, I'm not saying you can truly compare them, but there's a little bit of like similarity there to how well they've taken to the ring.
I can't believe you put Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey in the same sentence.
5 minutes ago you put Carmella in the same sentence as Kurt Angle.
I know, I'm on the piss take. I know. I see where you're coming from, and there are similarities, and it's probably more so at the front of people's minds because Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey have got this on-screen partnership as well as off-screen. They tagged together at WrestleMania. They're in regular exchanges in Kurt Angle's office, which isn't even an office, it's just a TV screen, and his massive phone that he's got. So I can understand where those similarities are coming from. You
know, the one thing I don't like about Ronda, You know, when she backs someone up and then she does that thing with arms and fists and she gets into the fighting pose and then she starts unloading sort of like multiple punches. I don't like that because they look quite weak. If I'm honest, they don't even look like they're landing properly, and that's kind of sometimes what you get when someone's unloading like rapid punches, like Shane McMahon, for instance. They just don't look like they're landing whatsoever.
I know, but if she landed her punches for real, then there'd be a few people on the
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would rather she'd done that and then started unloading like haymakers as opposed to some like a quick 5, 6, 7, 8 punch combination. I'd rather one big punch follow up with another one rather than be short, sharp, quick punches.
Mm-hmm.
But in that takedown of Alicia Fox on Raw last week, that was, I thought Alicia Fox's arm ripped out of socket. That was excellent.
You know they're going to run that angle where, because you know how Alexa Bliss is double jointed or something, where she can look as if she breaks her arm.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do that, and then Alexa will continue to think, "Oh, see, this is it. There's going to be a small package." Alexa will feign injury, she'll feign a broken arm, and she'll keep it going for a bit too long, where the ref's even holding up the X sign, and Ronda comes over and goes, "Shit, what have I done?" Schoolboy roll up, Alexa retains.
Fuck. It's not even that I hate Alexa, I just think that I just can't see any possible scenario in my head that Alexa wins. Like, even with outside interference, I'm convinced that Ronda's winning.
Aye, I'm convinced as well. I'm just flinging a spanner in the works. So, but it will be a Ronda win. Hopefully a conclusive one, which I'm sure it will be. So, the last one on the main roster, we've got AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, SmackDown WWE title. You excited about this one?
Yeah. Yes. Although, if you really want to go see how great AJ and Joe are together, go back 10 years ago and watch TNA. And that's what it was called back then, so I'm not like trying to troll anyone. That's, if you watch those matches, that's like the true great things that they can do together. So those matches they had, whether it was the singles or the triple threats with Christopher Daniels, was out of this world. They were so damn good. So I guess because of that, my expectations are high. But as Kyle said a few weeks ago when we were on Outsider's Edge, they're both older and slower. They're not capable of doing the same things that they were able to do back then. So don't expect that kind of match or that quality of a match. But I still have high hopes. I don't mind letting my imagination run away with me. I kind of think that's somewhat kind of the fun of it. So I'm expecting a 5-star match. And to be honest, I don't see why it shouldn't be like a real match of the night. AJ's obviously AJ. Joe's been involved in some great matches as well. Like I said, we know the chemistry from back in the TNA days. But like I say, they're not going to be able to do what they've done back then. But both guys are still great in the ring. Like, for me, it would be quite disappointing if this match didn't deliver.
I'm just going for this one, I'm deciding to go for reverse psychology. And I'm not going to get my hopes up because these quote-unquote dream feuds that AJ's been involved in with Kevin Owens and then Nakamura, for some reason, I'm not sure if I even agree, but I think overall they failed to deliver the dream matchups that we wanted from them. So because of that, I'm just going to go in with sort of calm hopes for it, that it will be a good match. I think AJ will retain because Samoa Joe's MO on the main roster is, I'm going to talk a good talk, but it doesn't work out for him on the night in question. So AJ to retain for me, but I think it should be a good match. Looking at what the matches we have on offer for the night in terms of like wrestling quality, then this will probably be up there regardless, even if it doesn't fail to deliver the 9-star classic that people want it to be.
That's the thing, like you said about Joe talking a good game and never backing it up. At some point, they're going to have to let him back it up.
Ah, true.
I just don't think it's going to be this Sunday. But like you say, I know you're saying the whole reverse psychology thing where you're going to go in and think it's not going to be a great match, don't want to get your hopes up. Well, like I say, I'm the complete opposite. So I think come Sunday night or Monday morning, whenever we're talking to one another, it'll sort of be that you didn't have high hopes, so you were pleased with the match, but I had higher hopes, but I'm sort of down on it. So I think we could almost be, roles could be reversed this time next week. Like I said, for me, it's more so because I watched live, and it's not even going, like, I watched it at the time, what they were able to do together. And I guess it's my own fault, but I can't get that out of my head, and I can't separate what those guys were able to do 10 years ago as opposed to what they can do now. But like I say, that's part of the fun for me and excitement.
Well, I hope they do deliver. Are you going for an AJ win?
AJ win.
Okie doke. So that's the main roster we've covered. It's quite a long chat, quite a lot of matches that we need to cover. Very quickly, how quickly will Drew Gulak beat Cedric Alexander when he rips his head off with the Dragon Sleeper, Gulak?
Oh, he's winning it.
He bloody better win it.
I think, so, if you ever had any doubts in my mind if he was going to win it or not, those tweets that surfaced from Cedric Alexander has probably just confirmed it.
Possibly.
Yeah, I want to see Drew Gulak versus Mustafa Ali.
Every week, every match, every brand.
and now, I know I'm not going to get much of a pushback or retort or shock from you by this statement. Shouldn't we start discussing Mustafa Ali in the same sentence that we discuss AJ Styles and Seth Rollins and Almas in?
Yes, because he has repeatedly had match of the week on programming, matches of the month. A bit disappointed with the WrestleMania match, but maybe is that because it was an Alexander match? There's just something a wee bit missing from Alexander's matches, and the same opponents who Ali has fought, Gulak, Murphy, Itami. Great match with Itami during the week there last week.
The Murphy match was just ridiculous.
All matches that they've had have been unbelievable. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon that Murphy gets a chance. Sorry, that Ali gets a chance to challenge Gulak, because they've done this thing where Mustafa Ali appeared to be in hospital for real last weekend, and they've turned it into an angle where he kind of collapsed after his match with Itami. So they're going to, I don't know what they'll do with him there, but he won't be challenging for the title anytime soon. What that means for Gulak going forward, maybe a rematch clause for Cedric. But while the matches have been great, more often than not for the main event spot on 205 Live, it's kind of just been a bit there. There's not been any further development or anything with any of the guys. Even Alexander's not had much of a growth, so I would be all for Gulak winning the title, just changing things up a bit. And it seems to be that with 205 Live, maybe we're just better with a heel champion, because look where we were with Neville. And Gulak's got in his arsenal the really good shoot wrestling, the destructive, evil, sort of dangerous wrestling, and if he wants to, he can be comical on the mic as well. So he's a sort of not a full package, but he's got a lot going for him. So I think something like that would sort of revive 205 a wee bit for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that assessment. It was a good assessment. Like I said, Mustafa Ali is as good as it gets, and that's the kind of person, a wrestler, and just the kind of person he is that you want sort of represent your company. Like he's as good as you're going to get. Like he's just an absolute outstanding person. just some of the things you see him doing on Twitter and stuff like that, just unbelievable. But like I says, I think it's time that he's really given the respect that he truly deserves his in-ring ability. Like I says, I've said it for a long time, I don't generally put too many people in the same sense as AJ Styles. Seth Rollins, and I also said now for the last sort of 5-6 months that Almas is every bit as good as anybody walking this earth. Well, Mustafa Ali deserves to be in that conversation. Let's say he's the best in that company.
I concur.
I think he's so damn special.
Yes, it's one of those ones where you wish that 205 Live were able to integrate with the main roster. So, now we've not really talked about NXT Takeover Brooklyn, the last Brooklyn Takeover that they're going to have for the foreseeable future. And I mentioned at the start of the show that SummerSlam's kind of crept up on us. Well, despite having fire TV matches like every week, you're talking like classic match of the year contenders on NXT for a long time now. Basically since Mania, that's been a 4-month stretch of just excellent matches. I'm not that hugely excited about this takeover.
So is that down to Aleister Black getting injured?
What, my opinion? No, I would say it's down to this EC3 Velveteen Dream feud just being a bit sort of kooky, Twin Peaksy almost, and it's sort of bizarre.
But that's Dream though.
No, it's not Dream though.
I mean,
it's comedy. This isn't. Dream's not been about comedy in the lead up to this. Maybe the Cassius Ohno stuff, but not before. It was very serious, despite the over-the-top flamboyance of him.
Well, the match itself will deliver, I think. Right? If you go down and you break down, right, so you've got Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain.
That's going to be fantastic.
How can that not deliver? Right?
Oh, that's going to be in the front of that Brooklyn crowd as well. That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
The women's title match. We're both big fans of Shayna Baszler, though.
I'm not a big fan of Kairi Sane.
Right. So moving on. We've got Gargano and Ciampa. I'm disappointed.
It was unforeseen.
I really wanted Aleister Black in that match.
It was unforeseen, though. That's what.
I know.
It wasn't a big decision.
And that's what I'm saying, so you don't really mind too much, but I really wanted Aleister Black in that match. I really, really did. I felt like I said on Outsider's Edge before, it added a nice little wrinkle into that Gargano-Ciampa feud. It kind of, not so much took this, it wouldn't have took the steam, but it would have prolonged that feud, because almost in my mind it's almost like, damn, is this the end of this feud coming up now? And it probably isn't, but I just can't get that sort of out of my head. If Ciampa wins, then where do you go? I actually think Tommaso Ciampa will win. And I kind of like the story they're telling you at the moment with Gargano, because when you go back to their match at Chicago, remember it was Tommaso Ciampa, was he being wheeled out or was he being carried out? I can't remember.
Stretchered out. Right,
and then Gargano effectively at that point could have declared himself the winner, but his anger overcomes him and he drags him back into the ring, and Ciampa ultimately gets the win. Gargano anger gets the better of him again and ultimately helps Tommaso Ciampa get the win. And I think I'm kind of leaning towards Saturday that the anger gets the better of Gargano again, and he's that obsessed with just beating up Ciampa that he ultimately doesn't care about the NXT title, and he either gets disqualified or, like I say, the anger consumes him that much that he can't focus properly and has a lapse in concentration and loses.
Well, it's a last man standing match, so it's not a case of a quick pinfall with this one like it was at Chicago.
That's true.
It's a very different dynamic that the last man stand matches give you. And with Gargano and Ciampa, I've become vocal on this that I'm just a bit done with it, and I feel as if Gargano should get over himself. Maybe harsh words, but
right. Are the NXT crowd at Full Sail, are they going to turn on Gargano?
They kind of did a wee bit.
I know, but I think that was more so after Aleister Black hit Black Mass, and they were more so saying you deserved it because you cost him the title. But it was that moment as well for me. I was almost like, are people getting fed up and bored of the whole Johnny wrestling?
I think they are.
That's what I thought as well. And I was speaking to John Ross today, and I says that to him. And I don't think it's anything. It's probably a combination of them getting bored of that, and also just how much everyone loves Tommaso Ciampa as well. So he's kind of in between a rock and a hard place almost, because like I says, I also get the feeling that some people are kind of fed up and done with him.
And but then when I think Gargano needs to get over himself, I have to remember Tommaso Ciampa spat on his wedding ring.
He threw it away.
We're married men. How did you feel when that happened?
Say that again, sorry?
How did you feel when that happened as a married man? A wee bit sick inside?
A wee bit sick inside. Kind of envious as well. I wish you'd done that to my ring.
Oh my God.
No, I'm kidding. The wife doesn't listen to our podcast, thankfully. No, like I say, that
just
moment,
brush past that then, why don't you?
No, when he done that, at that point you were like, before he done it, you're almost thinking yourself like, I couldn't hate you anymore, and then he goes and does something so disgusting. So, but like I say, I think it's quite telling that some people have already started to turn on Gargano that quickly.
So, a wee rundown. You've got Cole and Ricochet in there as well, which has kind of not really been much of a build. A lot of the matches haven't had proper builds for me, and they've had plenty of time to do it, so I don't know, it just seems off. I'm sure on the day I'll wake up Sunday morning, sit down in my pyjamas, cup of coffee, and think this is excellent yet again, but for the time being I'm just not overly fussed about it. So EC3
That's what I'm saying, like the build itself you might not have been a fan of, but I think coming to actual matches I think you will be like, do you know what, I'm okay, the builds weren't great, I wasn't a fan of that, but at least the matches themselves delivered.
Yes. So who will win out of EC3 and Velveteen Dream?
Well, when was the last time Dream got like a real significant proper win on a takeover?
Tell me, did he beat Cassius Ohno?
Is that a big win?
I don't even think he beat him though, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Because he lost to Black.
He's lost all of them.
And then lost the ladder match, and then lost to Ricochet. So yeah, going with that, we'll go with EC3.
For some reason,
I kind of think they realise what they've got in EC3, and I think they know what they've got. An absolute star.
Aye. See, for some reason I can't remember at all who won at Dream and Ohno.
That's fucking Ohno for you.
So,
very forgetful.
I'm going to go for an EC3 win as well. What about Cole and Ricochet? This is for the North American title, by the way.
Ooh. Adam Cole, baby.
Retains?
Yes.
I think so too.
So here's that.
Dream defeated Cassius Ohno, by the way.
Right. So, just thinking ahead, right, when our man Fish comes back, if and when that is, do they turn on Roddy Strong?
No.
Right. So, do you think they stay together, or let me throw this out? Do they turn on Adam Cole?
No.
So you think all four of them will be four of them?
If anyone turns on anyone, it will be in the main roster. They won't break up that stable on NXT.
Alright. How would you feel if they turned on Adam Cole? And Roddy Strong became the leader of that group?
They can't feasibly make Adam Cole a sympathetic babyface.
I mean, we thought we said that about Seth, but...
Said that about Dunn. Nah, I can't see it. I don't think they'll do it.
Pete Dunne. Did you see what he done at the weekend? I don't know if it was the weekend. I just saw it over the weekend.
What did he do?
So he's lying down at the railings and proceeds to take off somebody's vans, their trainers in the crowd. Takes the trainer, runs her out, beating a shout at everyone with the trainer, and hands it back to the fan. Oh,
even Jim
so
Cornette,
simple but brilliant.
Even Jim Cornette would love that. I'm sure of it.
It's just, Pete Dunne.
Right, so you're going for a Cole retain. So am I. I think that he'll retain that. EC3, he'll win. Due to Mustache Mountains probably being used for NXT UK, I would say Undisputed Era retain their titles, but that's going to be some match.
Yep, I agree.
What about, do you think Kairi Sane will upset Shayna Baszler?
No.
I'm going for Shayna Baszler as an outside bet to be called up to the main roster shortly after SummerSlam.
I think she'll hold the title at Evolution, and I think she'll probably drop it then.
Okay. Yeah, there might be call-ups after Evolution, actually. So, I think Baszler's just too good TV at the moment, so I'm going to stick with her. And Gargano versus Ciampa. Ciampa.
Fuck Gargano.
Oh well, we've just lost some listeners, ladies and gents.
I'm just joking around, but Tommaso Ciampa. Why take the title off him so soon?
I know. I hope they don't. I think his reign of terror has to continue.
Yeah, and because you can easily go Gargano and Aleister Black when Aleister Black's ready to come back, before ultimately maybe going with Black and Ciampa before Black gets called up.
Aye.
I think Tommaso Ciampa holds it for about another 6 months.
Oh, crazy!
Well, well, maybe not as much as 6. I certainly think he holds it up until the next Takeover.
Rumble weekend or War
what is
Games?
that? No, is that not War Games?
Yeah, War Games. Yep.
I think he holds it to then. He could potentially hold it to the Royal Rumble as well.
We shall see. I'm going for a Ciampa win as well. So there we have it. That is us previewed and predicted all of the matches so far for SummerSlam weekend. How about a wee SummerSlam themed quiz for you to close out the show?
Before we get to the quiz, one more thing I want to say. Vince McMahon, I am begging you, please take that title off Brock Lesnar.
Okay, pal.
Hey, let's just please do it. Please do it.
I'll send him a Bebo with a link to this podcast.
No, he's not on Bebo, he's on MySpace.
Oh, great chat here on the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show.
Now that lost us some listeners.
I know.
Sorry, the Big Fish is coming next week to bring some more listeners in for us.
Yeah. He's the draw.
He is the draw.
The draw. He's for a clue as to who it is, he's the STO Sultan. That's what I've trademarked him as. Right. Quiz time?
Yes.
It's fucking quiz time with Ricky and Clive and friends. A fucking WWE quiz.
So, this week, as I said, we've got a SummerSlam themed quiz, and I have here for you, Ricardo, 10 questions based around the good old fashioned SummerSlam. Are you ready?
Yeah. How many questions? 10, did you say?
10, yeah.
Yep.
Number 1. What was the outcome of the match between Undertaker and Kane at SummerSlam 2000?
Do you want the finish?
Kind of. What happened, aye?
SummerSlam 2000. Was it Biker Taker? I can't remember now.
Yes.
So, why do I not remember?
Feel free to pass if you don't remember.
I think I should know this. I'll pass.
Okay. The Undertaker, before the match even started, they were brawling around the ramp.
And it ended with a no winner.
Because Undertaker did what?
Something did not take Thingy's mask off, and then Kane ran away, basically.
Aye, that's it, basically. Number 2. Name 3 matches that happened at SummerSlam which were rematches of the Mania match in the same year. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you had a Mania match, and then later on they had a rematch at SummerSlam.
And it was a main event, did you say?
No, just a rematch.
Okay. Oh, in the same year.
In the same year. I'll give you a clue. You talked about one of these matches last week in our SummerSlam Through the Years episode, available now on the Social Suplex podcast network. Please rate and review 5 stars on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, MySpace and Bebo.
Right. I can't remember one of the ones we spoke about last week. It's quite a difficult question, actually. I was going to say Batista Cena, but I don't think they ever had one at SummerSlam. Did they have one at Mania?
Not at Mania, no. Not as far as I can recall.
Think so. Right, here we go. I say that like I know the answers. That's Taker and Brock took place a year after. What about that didn't happen? What about... I no idea.
Oh dear, right, okay.
What was the match I spoke about last week?
Well, I'm about to tell you. Undertaker and Edge.
Oh, fuck. That's what we spoke about.
Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero. And Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle. Next question. Who was in Kurt Angle's corner during that match with Eddie Guerrero?
The SummerSlam one, yeah.
Yes.
It was the man. Right, I'm almost certain he was in this film. Do you ever remember the film The Girl Next Door?
No.
Right, it was Mr. Reigns, not Roman. Luther.
Correct, well done. That was a memory bank effort, that one.
I'm sure he was in that The Girl Next Door. I'm sure he was.
See if that's the case. That's more random than Dolph Ziggler being a cop trying to stop bombs going off in arenas.
The Girl Next Door. Was she 2007? No, that's not it. There is it. Right, on you go, sir. I'll just continue googling this.
Number 4. How many SummerSlam matches has Brock Lesnar appeared in? How many SummerSlams has Brock Lesnar been in? In total.
In total? So let's see. Last year. Taker one. Cena one. This is just going to be an absolute guess. So, let's see. Came back then. He must have appeared in every single one since then. So it's now 10?
No.
$12?
Oh, for goodness sake. 7.
7? Really?
Where are you getting 12 from?
Oh, fuck Brock. I don't care about Brock.
Number 5, I believe.
That's just pathetic for me tonight.
Name 3 matches that happened at... Oh, I've done that one. Name all 7 team members of WWE versus Nexus. So the WWE team, when they fought Nexus at SummerSlam 2010. Name all 7 members.
Of the WWE team or the Nexus team?
The WWE one.
Right, so it was Cena, Edge, Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan. How many have I gave there? 4?
Mm-hmm.
R-Truth,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
and the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
Well, feckin' done there. Well done. I thought
Come on, Bret Hart.
you wouldn't get the R-Truth and John Morrison ones. Crazy.
No, they're kind of random. I always remember Bret Hart being in it though.
Mm-hmm. Aye, that was the random part.
Aye. Bret Hart.
Number 6. What year was John Cena's SummerSlam debut?
Which year? What fucking year did he debut in?
Well, this is the part that would surprise you.
Which year did he fucking get his debut? 2000. It's either 4 or 5.
Pick one.
4.
Correct.
Yes.
Next question. Who was his opponent? And I'll give you a clue. It was for the US title, kind of.
Fuck, do you mean kind of?
I will help you. It was part of a series. A best of 7 series for the US title.
John Cena. Oh, fuck. Was it Mr. 5-time?
It was indeed Booker T.
Or was it King Booker at that point?
No, that was 06, I think.
That
So after a...
was a terrible gimmick.
No, it was not. All hail...
Oh, fuck. No, I hated it.
Aye, that was the point, pal.
I know. And then you had Queen Charmel as well.
Right, next question. SummerSlam 2008. So you had Undertaker and Edge for the world title. What was the WWE title match?
WWE.
On the Raw side of things.
Johnny Boots and Tights.
Versus...
The modern day Maharaja's idol.
What?
The modern day Maharaja's countryman.
Cena versus Khali.
Aye.
You're wrong with both answers.
Really?
It was JBL and CM Punk.
Ah, what?
I know. Right, next one is a double question. SummerSlam 97. So you had the whole thing going on with Bret Hart versus Undertaker and Owen Hart versus Austin. So there was a Hart Foundation versus the Americans thing going on. Who were British Bulldog and Brian Pillman's opponents? So British Bulldog's opponent first, please.
At the same event?
Yes. There were stipulations for each match.
Shit. You want to know the stipulations or just the opponents?
The opponents. Are you Googling
Okay.
just now?
No, because I genuinely don't know who this is.
Well, if you need a clue, think back to the In Your House Canadian Stampede.
Shamrock?
Well done. Who was Brian Pillman's?
No idea.
I'll give you a clue of the stipulation. If Pillman lost, he had to wear a dress the next night on Raw.
Dress. What, just a random dress or this person's dress?
Just a dress.
So who was a bit of a weirdo back then?
And there's a clue for you. You just kind of said it.
What, that somebody was a weirdo? Could it have been Raven or something like that? Fuck, Raven wasn't even there at that point.
Do you want a clue?
Yes. Goldust.
Goldust, yes. Who was, for all intents and purposes, a bit of a weirdo back then.
Oh, he still is.
Number 10. How did SummerSlam 2009 end? How did the show close?
How did it close? Who the fuck was the main event? Who was the main event?
You're watching you on Skype, your eyes are darting back and forth more than Eric Young's right now.
Eyes are right here. I don't know even. Give me a clue who the main event was.
It was CM Punk and Jeff Hardy in a cracking TLC match.
So it was. That was the month before Jeff left, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
How did it close? Shit! I think we fucking discussed this last week.
I think we did.
Somebody didn't cash in. Did they?
No.
Could Punk win? What the fuck?
Do you want a clue?
Mm-hmm.
I'll rephrase the question. How did the lights go out at the end of SummerSlam?
How did the lights go out?
Yep.
Because Taker came back.
Yep. How exactly?
Fuck, that's right, because him and Punk ended up having a little wee feud as well, not long after it. I can't remember, but they ended up having a feud like a month or so after.
Well, Punk was lying and he was standing above Jeff Hardy in the middle of the ring. Like, it was literally his legs on either side of Jeff Hardy's body. Lights went out, Undertaker was underneath when the lights came back up. So Jeff Hardy was consumed. His soul and body was consumed by Undertaker.
My mind just goes blank at some of these questions.
I know it sounded like it was a bit of a tough one for you, so apologies.
No, it wasn't even that tough, it was just, I don't know, panic under the pressure.
Well, it's done now. You did not too bad. You did
like 4.
You excelled with the Nexus question.
I remember that so well because of the amount of times we've heard in a podcast.
I know. Right, that's us. I did the whole iTunes plug thing earlier, so the podcasts you can get on this podcast network are ourselves, Outsider's Edge, Grown Men Watch This Shit, Keepin It Strong Style, and One Nation Radio. We are at Ricky and Clive on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. That's not the Instagram handle, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I do columns. I do a 205 Live column every week for socialsuplex.com and Lords of Pain as well. But if you want the column from Social Suplex, you can subscribe. By doing that, you can also subscribe to podcasts when they drop as well. Again, please leave us a 5-star review. Get us up the rankings and the charts so that more people can hear us talk about Vince McMahon's MySpace page. Have I missed anything? Anything you want to discuss before we drop out?
No, I don't write columns. I read columns. I read yours on a weekly basis, but that's about it.
Cool.
No, I've got nothing else to say other than, the usual. Thank you for listening and downloading.
Yep.
We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys, and I hope you have a lovely SummerSlam weekend /takeover as well.
Yep, and like we say, next week and a couple of weeks after is going to be a fun podcast for us, especially next week, and like I say, it's a couple of weeks' time with Outsider's Edge, so listen out for those.
Yep. And the person who I thought I was going to try and get on soon, I'll get you on soon. You might not even know I'm talking about you, but I'm talking about you. Alright?
I think I know who you're talking about as well.
Alright. And it turns out it's a nice wee anniversary. This is too cryptic. Let's go home. Night,
Yep.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.